Hey guys, welcome to Hot Potatoes, where Yelena and I, the boring enterprise nerds, talk about things that we maybe have written about, maybe we haven't, and they're capturing our interest, and they're just like it's a great way to have a slightly extended conversation about stuff, I think. I think a lot of times it turns out that, some of the stuff we wind up writing about, some of it we've already written about, some of it we will never write about. But it's a great chance, I think, and I hope you agree, Yelena, because we're doing this video, so I assume you agree,
Yep.
that having a longer conversation is just an easier way to actually digest things and not just spray it out to the world, right?
Yep. Yep.
So, Yelena is the lovely hostess with the mostest, who's got the screens ready to share for us. We've compiled a few things to talk about. Yelena, please take us away into what we're discussing here.
All right. So I'm the hot potato DJ today. Uh, so so we have five topics to talk about today, and these are our hot potatoes. Hot potato number one is social media. So where the heck are all the social media people
Yeah.
these days? It's been kind of a weird space with Twitter and everything that's going on there. And that has been, I don't know how about you, Paul. For me, it's actually been main source of SAP news and just getting into some of the SAP conversations with people who are in the know, who are kind of in the loop on things that are happening.
Yeah. That's me too. Like I definitely use Twitter as even above and beyond SAP, but SAP is a large part of my Twitter, is just like finding that quick. It's almost like Twitter, sir, at least did serve to me. I could curate my list of here are the people who can point me to things going on that I can then go further with if I want to, right?
Mm.
So somebody from SAP or whatever might say, "Hey, I've been really checking out this book," and I can go Google that thing and find out more about it
Hmm.
and kind of expand my own knowledge, or I can see what people are saying. And like, I'm sure this is the same for you. Like, my Twitter experience has utterly imploded. Like,
Yeah.
I am not getting. I get like the people that I follow have like essentially vanished. The
Hmm.
people then Twitter has that other like they have like the stuff you're following, and then they have like what
Yeah.
you might
For
find
for
interesting.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah. That's just
that has just
hot garbage.
changed
Yeah.
entirely for me too. There's a couple things here and there that I'm like, oh, interesting, but mostly it's things that like I was never into before, but now that they're in my feed, like I either have to take the time to like block it or
Mm.
mute it or whatever, or I scroll past it. And everything I do, I'm sure, is like training the algorithm to keep feeding me the
Yeah.
things I didn't want in the
Yeah.
first place. So I think the question here that we're posing is for the folks who have disappeared from Twitter, where'd you go?
Yeah.
Because there's been alternatives popping up and other things like Blue Sky and Mastodon, and now of course Threads, which completely blew up. But like where like it's now sort of scattered a little
Yeah.
more, you know?
Yeah.
And one question I have from the SAP side of things is, does this mean that people are or might start turning more toward like the SAP community for
Mm.
news and info that they've been kind of seeking out in the universe? Because I mean, if I'm being totally honest, the SAP community had kind of a similar, you know, reduction in force, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
a few years ago, and was kind of never the same. So, Yelena, what do you think's going on? Where are the people going?
Yeah, I'm just confused as you, and I guess that some people might even just stopping altogether. I
Yeah,
mean, first of all, it's summer, so there is naturally
yeah,
lower activity, but then I'm kind of reconsidering use of social media altogether
yeah.
because LinkedIn is another site that's still alive,
Ugh.
but it's turning into a pile of hot garbage. To be
I don't.
honest, these days it's kind of outlived its purpose a little bit. So seems like global social media crisis, but just in the effort to keep it kind of short and snappy. So Guys, if you're watching this, just send us a message or comment under this video. Let us know what's going on with you. Where if you went somewhere else where you're getting value, where
Yeah,
did you go? What would you suggest? If you like me, kind of trying to do less, then why and what? So yeah, just
yeah,
guys, let us know if you were on social media and are not anymore. Then yeah, we're very curious to hear from you. All right. So our next hot potato is Odoo. It's a kind of a it's a what is it, Paul? So you have written the story. I think you're the best person to talk about it.
yeah. So Odoo is largely two things. One is it's an open source ERP and apps that support that, and two, it is a company that offers a like hosted solutions with that open source ERP, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they have like you can go to GitHub and and fork off your own version of this stuff and do what you want, or you can go to odoo.com and like buy the hosted version of stuff and like run your business from there, or like places in between. And the thing that keeps me kind of coming back to this, because I wrote about this in our last issue, but I also wrote about it in September, um, is that for you and I coming from a largely SAP world, this is such an enormously different motion than that stuff. You know what I mean? Because
Mm.
I think the key that pointed me to that was there was an awesome person who commented on this issue,
Mm-hmm.
and this person described their experience and what their company was doing with this, and it was a path that I think doesn't resemble what the larger ERP paths are
Mm-hmm.
for this stuff, because this person's company they literally take the Odoo source code and they build their own point solution for that and just sell that thing
Mm-hmm.
or customize that thing.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So it's very
It's almost DIY ERP.
yeah, and it like there's I'm sure as you go up and down the scale of sizes and shapes of businesses,
Mm-hmm.
that makes more and more or less and less sense. And SAP-ish things make more and more or less and less sense depending on which way you're going on the scale of all those things. But I love that because that to me that reminds me of things like Linux
Mm-hmm.
or like Apache solutions that
Mm-hmm.
wind up turning into like the hyperscaler things. Like AWS has a version of like managed Kafka, right? Based
Mm-hmm.
on Apache Kafka. And similarly, I think Microsoft, I don't know whether theirs is based on Kafka or not, but like the Apache world influences the hyperscaler and other worlds. And I have a hope that Odoo can do the same thing and kind of like expand the ecosystem almost. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it
Mm-hmm.
can like the current biggest ERP players, it's such a huge monolith that like it's like half of your job is to climb the mountain of ridiculous like vendor specific things
Yeah.
before you can kind of get into and sort of make your vision known.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that means paying for access to it or paying for training or whatever. And this other side of the thing, this Odoo is like, guys, the door is open. Just go do
Mm.
what you want to Odoo and do it. I tried to make
Yeah.
that work. I don't know if that's gonna work, but
Yeah. It's
the point is, like that's a much smaller mountain to scale to get to. I can do what I want with this now.
Yeah,
the
I was
yeah,
just thinking if that person did what they did with Odoo with SAP, I think they would be sued out of all of their belongings.
they'd still be trying to do it. They wouldn't be
Yeah.
done yet,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good luck with that.
yeah.
All right, nice. So in short, SAP, Paul, what do you think for SAP professionals? What is the main point why they need to essentially care about ERPs like Odoo? Why do you think is that?
Well, for SAP professionals, I think I have two answers to that question. One is be aware of the competitive space around like niche modules maybe that you're building on that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But also the second point is that like I think if you're asking about that question for SAP professionals, and somebody might slap me for saying this, I think knowing about this just exposes you to, you know what? If I get sick of what I'm doing now, there's a whole
Mm-hmm.
other world to jump into.
Yeah. Yeah.
World all over the place out there. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
that's of course that's not me saying that I hate SAP. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that as a person, sometimes you don't want to be joined at the hip to like one thing forever. And if you decide that you want to do something else, but that you still like kind of businessy software, hey, give it a look. It's JavaScript and Python. It's like if you're a nerd, those might be some of your favorite languages to work
Mm-hmm.
with. Um, and there's a thriving ecosystem for this stuff. Their conference has thousands of attendees. Um, like it's just a place where you can play that I think has a very nice combination of there's a lot of people playing there, but there's a huge amount of open field to run into
Mm-hmm.
yet. And I think it's neat. I think it's neat.
Nice. Nice. All right. All right. So moving on with our with our hot potatoes. So this is a clean core. I have written on this subject, and if you are an SAP professional or if you're curious about SAP, you must have heard gazillion of times lately about clean core messaging coming from SAP. As usual, there is a lot of confusion from community what clean core even means, etc., etc. And I have written the story, but again, just wanted to talk a little bit more about this subject because it begets slightly longer conversation. So Paul, what is I express some of my opinions here. What is your take on clean core, and is this just a new bullshit, or is this old bullshit, or is it something that people really need to take seriously this time?
So I think it's like a stew of, and like bullshit is one of the ingredients, but maybe if you still want the stew, you can kind of fish it out of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because like when I hear things like clean core tied to the concept of cloud readiness,
Mm-hmm.
my alarm bells go off
Yeah.
because like cloud readiness, that may not be where your enterprise wants to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like clean core is like, I'm sure, the SAP board would love if everybody was like, yes, clean core for cloud readiness, because then everybody would be getting the message of like, make all your preparations and go to the cloud. Like
Mm-hmm.
that, obviously, that would be their preference for all their customers to like stop being on-prem customers and use cloud SAP. Of course, they want that. And clean core is a vital piece of that for the customers who maybe are thinking of making the switch from their existing on-prem to cloud. But like it's that horse is carrying two bags, and one bag is like it's carrying the bag for SAP's purposes of wanting to like it. From the
Yeah.
other side, I totally get why, from a technical standpoint, the idea of clean core can make sense from a maintenance perspective, right, of your systems.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get it. Um, So, like within your ABAP team, within your SAP team, I can understand where that is should be something to maybe keep your eyes on. But to me, everything always eventually boils down to, is this good for the business that's running this software?
Yeah.
And clean core, like obviously, there's a lot of ways to do things now, and a lot of ways to work on that path of clean coreness. But if you have the choice between I have a pristine core
Mm-hmm.
and I have a system that does what my business needs to do, businesses will rationally choose this does what my business needs to do.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
said, these days there's a lot of tooling that like makes you so that you may not have to make that choice. But if you have to make that choice, you're going to choose the business answer, not the
Yeah.
clean core answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Naturally. And there are just, I think there are some specific misconceptions that we can quickly run through, and we have
Yeah.
written some
Yeah.
notes on it. So first one is, as we call it, nose pro bro. So many people, for some reason, believe that this means no customizing whatsoever. I think that's
Mm,
terribly wrong, and I wish SAP maybe would have just explained it more clearly. That it's definitely not the case. It doesn't mean that you do not customize or do not enhance your system at all. That's not at all what it means. So
yeah.
then, Paul, you have written
Well,
roll back your change, Doctor Strange. What did you mean by that?
well, so I this was me just being a total dork because when you said no bro,
Yeah.
that reminded me of the Paul Simon song,
Mm-hmm.
50 Ways to Leave Your Lover.
Mm-hmm.
Just get on the bus, Gus, get
Yeah.
on the train, Jane, or whatever. Like, so like I just thought, how many ways can I say keep the code clean,
Yeah.
Irene, or whatever? You know what I mean?
Irene.
Like, so
Oh man.
I have nothing else
Missed
to add
missed
except
opportunities.
I thought it was funny to
Sweet.
make reference, oblique
Sweet.
reference
Awesome.
to the Paul Simon song.
All right, then the next one, don't enhance the chance. That's that's from the same song, but
Same song, yeah.
yeah, but it's
50 ways to clean your core, yeah.
yeah, but again, that's totally not what it means. You can still
or or
enhance your your SAP
it could be
system.
50
Just
ways to leave your data center. There we
yeah,
go. Yeah.
50 shades of clean core. All right,
That's a
all right.
different thing. We may not want to do that.
Moving
That'll
on.
be for the after dark version of this
Yeah,
episode.
after that. All right, moving on to the next hot potato. All right, so next hot potato, we're moving now into Paul's favorite AI territory. So Victara, which is a company that does apparently enterprise search, whatever
Yep.
it means, got some new, I guess, funding to do whatever it is they are doing. So
Yeah. Yep.
because it has enterprise and search, I just found it immediately interesting.
Yeah.
So Paul, I think you did some more research on it.
Yeah. So
What do you think?
click that
And
next thing right there. And
let's
so
take a look at
look
this.
at that. Just look at that. This is a brilliantly designed
Mm-hmm.
product page, I think, because
Mm-hmm.
that example right there
Yeah.
is so much, tells you so much, because
Yeah.
the question is it noisy at this address?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer, the chatbot comes away with the answer that says no, it's not. And the brilliant thing is that, so I'll get on, it took me a minute to get here, but the GPT based engine there determined that the answer was no, it's not noisy, and it gave kind of sources for why it thought
Mm-hmm.
that. None of those sources say not noisy or whatever,
Yeah.
but it means the same thing, and that has been such like a pain in the ass for me when I search for documents at my employer's document store.
Mm-hmm.
And like the example would be, if I was looking for something, if I wanted to know like what are the 6 key core values of my company, whatever they are,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a presentation for a user group somewhere and I want to make sure I put a blurb about my company there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to search for that specific term if I'm going to find the
Yeah.
I can't say what are my company's like deepest principles,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that will screw up like basically every enterprise search thing
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
because you have to know the actual word of the thing. This is semantic. This is like, I can look for the thing where I know we have the answer, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
know the word I'm looking for. Or I know that we have the answer in context, but but there's no database that says noise level 7 for this address, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise I can just write a
Exactly.
SQL statement and find it.
Mm-hmm.
This is that stuff. Obviously, product pages are built to tell you like the best case of things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that there are, challenges for getting your corporate data into the engine here in the
Mm-hmm.
right way, in a smart way. I'm sure there are challenges around that. But the promise of this is like, do you remember like when for a while it was amazing that like the Fiori Launchpad had that little search thing at the top where
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
plop in like any ID number
Yeah.
and it would find that
Yeah.
document.
Yeah.
With this, that's like that times a million,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because now you can just go, we have a product that's like pointy and purple. What is that again? And like this is the path to that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And so that's what makes me excited about this is the the enterprise right now is built for people who are very exacting and specific. But most humans are not that exacting and that specific
Mm-hmm.
in what they want and need.
Yeah.
And this moves toward better that. And to
Yeah.
me, that's why that's exciting.
And there is also, especially in SAP world, there are sometimes just differences in terminology that
Yeah.
are completely valid. And I had really, honestly, hardest time on SAP API Hub, which is frequently praised as one of their best websites. And for SAP, it's not bad, but searching for something, it's exactly problem like you said. You need to know exactly what you're searching for. But when you know that that's 80% of the job is already done, there's kind of those nuance in using different terms
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
different, and some of them might be even country or culture specific sometimes.
Mm,
Like for example, in the SAP community, many times we hear words that might not be used in the United States, but they're very
yeah.
typical in India or Europe.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is definitely will be hugely helpful. Moving on to the
Hmm.
to our last but not least hot potato of today. The subject as we kind of defined it is AI is taking our jobs.
They took our jobs!
So there was this post on Reddit that I found interesting. This person is apparently worried if AI is going to take SAP consultant jobs,
Mm,
and we'll have all the links in our video description. You can read this
yeah.
interestingly phrased question. Um, yeah, I talked to with my coworkers, but seems they're dummy stupid. Oh, this person must be a peach to work with, I guess. So, so maybe yeah, maybe people like that should be worried if AI is gonna take their jobs. Um, but you can see from the replies here, it's overwhelmingly no one no one else other than this person is apparently worried. And I found it's funny that the reason number one why it is that they're saying client has to know exactly what they want with all the details. And I just laughed at all those comments because that's exactly the and that's the challenge with this enterprise storage that we talked about. People don't know how to say things they
Yeah.
want, how to say things they're looking for, and I can totally relate to that because most of the work in SAP projects, it's really not writing the code, it's not building something, but it's really finding out what the heck do
Yeah.
users actually want and having those kind of agile style iterations where you can, is this what you want? Is this what
Yeah.
you want? Is this what you want? So that was funny. And just to confirm my theories, there was another article highlighted recently in the Genomica. The world is running out of developers. So
Yeah.
far from being replaced by AI, there apparently actually lack of developers. As long as that's a big, I think, disclaimer, as long as they have skills that are needed in modern development. So
Yeah.
I kind of suspect that the developers who actually might be replaced by AI are the ones who are whose skills are on very kind of low and basic level. It's
Yeah.
writing just boilerplate code that really should have been automated long time ago. So Paul, what's your perspective on this?
So my perspective on this is because I mean, anybody who reads the newsletter knows that I am kind of a dork for AI stuff all over the place. And my perspective on this is anybody who thinks the current state of the art in generative AI is any kind of actual replacement for a full-blown developer, of course they are on some kind of crazy drug. That is not what that's not what those tools are right now.
Mm,
Um, I think there are certain classes of developers and certain areas of expertise where the current generation of AI stuff absolutely is a productivity boost, but it is not even close to fully taking a job from anybody. Okay. Now that being said, I don't think that I can even rationally project forward into how many years or whatever it is from now where some system might have even more capabilities, right? I can't project forward because, and the reason I say that is from what we had before GPT-4 to what we got with GPT-4 was like, it was like shifting forward from one universe to another universe. It was crazy what appeared seemingly out of nowhere for our models to do. So if there is another universe shift or 2 or 3 waiting down the road, maybe there is something there that will reduce or whatever something with developer jobs. But in the universe we occupy now, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Clearly it is not the case. It can make you in some cases, perhaps even many cases, more productive or faster. It cannot replace you.
Yeah.
And for it to replace you, even if it became just as good as you are at writing code, there would still need to be other things that changed before the jobs themselves would go away. So like my long-winded thought is, you're safe now, and I have no idea when that changes. Whether that's even in your lifetime, I don't know. It feels like it's probably sooner than that, but that's just a gut, like, who, if anybody has a crystal ball, like, start selling tickets to it, because no one can predict when that might change.
Yeah.
So I have like way more thoughts than this too, but like I'm trying to keep my
Yes,
contained.
keep it short.
But yeah, but just like, my friend from Reddit, you are safe. And when that changes, if it became the case that you could replace a software developer's job, like, we would have a lot more problems than just that one problem. So
yeah. So
yeah.
just in case that happens, we welcome our new AI overlords. But I think the bottom line, developers should not be worried for their jobs. But what I think they should be doing is learning how AI can help them be more productive,
Yeah.
and what we already do. So folks, don't really don't think of it as a threat. Think of it as a help for
That's
you. And
man,
yeah,
that's a great way, because that's a great way to say it, Elena, because I think the opposite is also kind of the opposite is also true, where if you are purposely ignoring it, you're probably also missing out on some enhancing you can do to your own self. Because like, I ask general purpose questions about things I don't quite understand in the moment, and I have gotten very good explanations that help me along the path of things. So like, trust it at your peril, but also ignore it at your peril too, I think, is what I would say.
Yep. Awesome. All right. So that sounds like a great closing statement. And I hope you enjoyed this hot potato discussion, which happens to be during the hottest time of the year in the whole United States.
We just left the potatoes outside in the sidewalk
for
and they got
a minute.
hot.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So if you please feel free to share your thoughts and feedback with us wherever you got a link to this video. And we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.